It's not
pierogies over there.
I can't figure out the cool way to hold this thing.
Yeah, it's gonna,
Time is almost like he's holding a Courvoisier. Look at this.
What you were recording from?
Video is on, by the way. Yeah, no, I'm recording right now, see?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, now
Earthy.
the audio is recording.
Earthy.
Earthy?
Exercise it, Sean.
Explore the space. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. We have been forced inside our RV due to inclement weather. We're joined now by, Pat Sherwood and Rory Mckernan. How the hell are you guys, man?
I mean, it feels so right.
How long has it been since the four of us have actually been together doing something?
Oh, that's interesting. All
Great
four of us
question.
A long time. More than a week.
That's
the only accuracy I can give.
You're not wrong.
It's been a while. A year, 2 years?
Yes.
More than...
Probably.
No, I mean, without a doubt, man.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I don't think I've even seen you in person since you've now had a child.
Yes.
Certainly didn't see you since before that pregnancy, which I've heard is 9 months.
I am so bad with so many things and time frames, especially. So you're right, you're probably it's far longer. My family's coming in next week to see the baby. And I was like, man, I haven't seen my family. They're on the East Coast. I haven't seen my family in a couple years. My mom's like, it's been 6. I was like, oh.
You don't say.
Well, you guys should come out. So, yes, don't trust me.
I was going to say it's at least been 3.
I think it's been 3.
We've been 3 at
This is
least.
great. Let's just do. We're in the mobile Whoop studios. Got to keep the sponsors happy now. How the Whoop numbers looking today? Because this is when it starts to get bad for me.
This is
I'm actually
exhausting
doing
holding
okay.
this.
You should work out.
I'm actually fighting the good fight right now.
Oh, look at you in the green.
76.
I'm at 50, right in the middle.
Wow.
Solid C. How did you get 80? Rogue on 4.5 hours of sleep.
4.5 hours of sleep. It's a lie. It's not. I mean,
I got 3 hours and 20 minutes of
I
sleep.
told my man Mike Lombardi, I was like, I'm sorry, Mike, but this is fake. This is not. You did that to make me feel better. You went into my Whoop data.
I've seen Mike walking around. He's hard to miss. That guy's like 8 feet tall.
He is, and
Good man.
Smart, fun dude.
All right.
Absolutely. 7:03 on sleep.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, I got some decent sleep last night.
And you know what? We've been doing some cool stuff on the broadcast with Whoop. We've been able to show athletes' heart rates like during a workout. We did it for the last event tonight. It was awesome. They are the official wearable of CrossFit. Go to Whoop.com. Use our code Talking15. You'll save 15%, and you will optimize the way that you train and recover.
Whoa, look at this.
Whoop.com. How'd you get? Wait, what happened?
Tommy, you got 7 hours of sleep
I
last
did.
night.
And I went to bed at.
That is impressive.
And I went to bed late too because we
you
recorded
did.
early shows.
You probably went to bed later than I did.
Yeah, probably.
You probably about
2:30?
7 hours before you had to get up.
Oh man.
Whoop just told me stretching. My heart HRV typically increases by 12% when I report stretching.
Interesting. I was not aware of that. So anyway, yeah, Whoop.com. Use our code Talking15. Save 15%. While you're there, peruse the website. They have great resources on the locker section that help you.
Explore the space.
Yeah, exactly. To help you maximize your recovery and your sleep.
Why 15?
Because you get 15% off.
It's better than 10.
Yeah,
It's better than 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
16 was taken. Don't get greedy.
That's right. You don't want to push it too far. All right. Let's. Usually, we do these episodes to recap everything that just happened. I doubt that's really going to happen tonight. Although there was some exciting stuff. Did you get to watch any of the competition?
The answer to that question is yes. I did watch some of the competition.
Okay.
Very, very little, but I've been so, you've got a baby asleep in the
Yes.
other room.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a baby asleep in another state. So because of that and me flying out here, when I showed up today, which is Saturday, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't know who was, I assumed that Tia Claire Toomey was winning, but I didn't know, hadn't looked at the leaderboard, didn't know who. I was like, some random fan was like, who's winning for the guys? They're like, Medeiros. I was like, oh, no kidding. So I'm a little bit out of touch.
Bro?
What'd you say?
And not to make excuses, but I was in and out of the competition as well.
Right,
And
because you've
obviously-
been following Rich and Company.
Rich and Company, and then obviously like dipping in hard on what's happening in the women's competition.
Yeah.
So I stayed pretty plugged into that. And then the men, I had a couple of favorites that we were kind of trying to support through the weekend. Sam Cornier, Royce Dunn, who had a great couple of days.
Yeah, he did.
And so, yeah, especially with the last
was
moment of
awesome,
today.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I haven't been hyper plugged in either. It's been in a pleasant way, like I've gotten to sit back and kind of be a fan and enjoy. But are you asking me for highlights?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
What did you enjoy today?
The not necessarily the event in total, but the event finale of the snatch event I thought was really fun.
That was incredible.
Yeah, and to see Malheiros and Royce go head to head at the end of it was fantastic.
And that's one where you could have even swapped. It didn't matter. Like both of them ended on a super high note. It was awesome. It was so cool. Yeah,
Malheiros is just dripping with swag.
He would say, is that how am I pronouncing it?
Malheiros.
I'm working on that.
Malheiros. Yeah, almost like a Y.
He is a phenomenal lifter.
It's incredible.
Watching him even for the last lifts, he was so fast under that bar, and then his arms were beautifully locked. Like nothing looked like, ooh, that was a close one. He looked like, if we're gonna keep going, I'm good.
I'm here all night.
It was impressive.
I don't feel bad saying this because I already talked to Royce and we had the same conversation. I had a good laugh about it, but we were like, he was saying the end of that was kind of like a checkers game where like you only have one piece left and you just kind of keep moving.
Yeah.
Run away. He's like, okay, so if I hit 305, he's just gonna hit 305.
Right.
If he hit 310, he's just gonna keep going until he's done. You know.
And his comments were cool at the end about like firing up South America and Brazil, and he's like, I'm just opening the doors. Like that's real cool.
No, I think and we talked about it on the broadcast, but they have waited so long to have like a legitimate contender from down there. That is gonna make that community, I think, explode. Yeah, it's already growing.
They're lacking passion.
Yeah,
they need something to get fired up about down there. They're gonna bring the heat. Yeah, and if he is any indication of what the future is, he's fun to watch just right now.
Yeah, great personality. Love the post interviews. I mean, like I even said it. I was like, how can you not like him?
Yeah, you pull for the kid.
Infectious personality.
Well, it's kind of fitting, right? Like he made his name known in the teenage division with that 290 plus snatch 4 years ago, and then he kind of cements his place on the individual side with a 300 plus snatch, and it's kind of that like nice end of the story for him as far as like making that transition. I was so impressed by what Pat said when he talks about like everyone had that point where they caught a bar and the shoulders wobbled, the hips wobbled, something left.
Not him.
It was like perfect.
Yep.
I mean, I think if he wanted to, maybe at some point, like he should explore some weightlifting as well. I think that's something that's up his alley. He was already a star in Brazil. Like everything I hear from him, everyone rallies around him because they've got such a big affiliate community. For anyone listening at home, the second largest affiliate community, like in terms of numbers, besides the United States, and the first to break 1,000. So they have a ton of passion for that. Because the other athlete that everyone was excited for is out. Didn't start the competition, Larry Kuna.
And we'll be out for a while. It looks like. But man,
because why? Sorry for those of us on the side.
Tested positive for SARMs.
Not correct? Just awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Enhanced awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a lot of excitement when she qualified. You know, now getting that spot, especially because she was competitive in some other competitions outside of just this, and a lot of weight was put on them because they did the quarterfinals together too, and it's tough. But I'm impressed with how he's kind of shouldered that like love from Brazil. You check the comments section. Brazilian flags. I've been trying to decipher. I'm trying to brush up on my Portuguese.
No, I am too, because I'm like we're going to be. And I said it tonight. I go start. I've been practicing his name. You probably should too, because you're going to be saying it a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This kid is the real deal. 3 event wins. I think he's 6th place overall right now.
Oh, do you? Again, I'm so out of touch.
No,
I couldn't tell you all the events. What are the other 2 that he won? Because obviously he's profoundly strong at the Olympic lift. So now I want to know what's the other.
He won the
do.
sprint.
He won the sprint.
The 500.
Yeah, he won that. And then he won one of was it 6 or 7?
Another weightlifting and running.
Yeah, the
explosive power.
Yeah, he won the heavy one.
And I'd say this too. It used to be, I would say he might be able to take the mantle from Josh Bridges in my book of best celebrations ever.
Oh, no question.
The authenticity of the celebration, like I haven't seen it since Josh Bridges, but he didn't, he plans the dabs and stuff, but like you can see it's just the fire coming out of his belly, like, into the audience.
Right now in a small house in California, Josh Bridges is breaking out a black book and writing Rory Mckernan.
Copy that. ...
Get to that later.
One of the early highlights was on that sprint clean event that he ended up winning, and he had the lead as he came into the arena. Like, he just immediately starts pumping up the crowd as he's jogging over barbells. Like, come on, get up, get up, get up. And just, it's not like necessarily self-awareness, but to not shy away from that stage in that moment when a ton of people are rallying and actually like use it, like tapping into that.
Is the obvious move too, though. I don't clean 350 without cheers.
No, you know what I mean? Traditionally not.
Right.
I don't clean 350 without stripping 100 pounds off of it first.
But then what was cool too is like, again, you could have switched the order in which either if the men went first, the women's competition, if you ended on that, it still ends on a great high. I mean, a great battle between Tia and Annie Thorstad.
Man, that was radical.
And we were talking about it coming in. Like, I didn't know what to think about where Annie was going to finish because we hadn't seen her in so long.
Yeah.
So we didn't know, kind of what athlete we're going to get. But
I did not think she was going to finish there.
She has a chance to finish on the podium now.
Annie Thorsdottir, I've been out of the analyst role for a while, so maybe what I'm about to say is just malarkey and clearly wrong. I didn't think she was going to finish that high in the snatch ladder anyway. Even though she's so talented, her overhead position always looks forced. And like it's a bit of a struggle. Like her arms aren't beautifully. And for her to keep, because she kept going and kept going and kept going, and then even surprised herself
that was
at
awesome.
the end. And is like, and she had a child, was it about a year ago?
Less than a year.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The fact that she has recovered. And it's not just recovering, like, starting to get my I'm starting to get my body back here. Like, no, not starting to get your body back and your awareness back. You're one of the fittest people in the world throwing down at the games. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I had a moment when I actually got stuck on the other side of the run when they were doing the Toast to Bar run event earlier. But it was cool because you saw Briggs come by, who I've just couldn't have more love for Sam Briggs. He's one of my favorite people of all time. When I see Andy go down, like kind of another group of athletes back, and I was like, this woman was here in 2009 dominating, and now she's still back into the top of the game. Because I know, longevity in the sport is just as admirable to me as being at the top of the game.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Because I think when Annie was first breaking in, the field was not what it is now.
I mean, Pat was competing, to be fair.
Well,
back in the day.
Yeah, he's like, beat Ben Smith.
Appreciate that.
No problem. I would wear that on a shirt if I were you, by the way.
She's the first athlete to qualify as an individual in 3 different decades.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which is insane.
Speaking of Ben Smith, this is a side note, but I'm sitting at that swim event, and I turn to my side, and there's just some dude almost looks like a spectator, got a hat on, backpack, and he's like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And I was like, "Ben Smith, what are you doing on this side of the ropes? This doesn't seem right, man."
Coach and Laura Horvath are doing a damn good job.
Yeah.
She's in second place right now.
Yeah, crushing it.
I think she's got like almost a 100-point lead, if not more, on Holta for second, right?
Yeah, 100-plus point lead over third.
Wow.
She's got 939. Holta's got 834. I mean,
that's 105 points if I'm doing my math right. Back in the napkin.
Always a strong part of the American education system, mathematics.
That's crazy.
I mean, you look. She's had third. So her best finish is third, first, fifth, second, third, fifth, third. She's just like racking up those top fives. She did like a little bit of damage control on day one. It was a 19th on one of the longer events, but like other than that, nothing crazy, nothing above 20, nothing like outside in the bottom half.
So here's the question, Tommy. Saturday, big day, obviously. I don't know what's happening tomorrow. I don't know how many events there are. I don't know if there'll be a secret, like, there's extra points available. Like, you never know, right?
Yeah.
Tia's probably a safe bet, but do you see Laura staying where she is?
100%.
That's a high percentage. That's a high percentage.
Yeah, I think she's on. I mean, at the very worst, she's third.
Okay.
You couple the fact that we know there's 3 events left, 300 points. Realistically, she has to average about an 8th place finish just to hold on to second across the weekend. That's assuming Kristen Holta wins all 3, and we know that's not going to happen. I think she can. I don't want to play it safe, but she can be a little bit more aware of the people around her, and kind of play the throttle game with, like, I know I got to stay ahead of you. I got to stay ahead of you. I don't got to hurt myself. And I got this thing in the bag, because Tia's too far gone too. Tia's 206 points ahead already.
Yeah.
So that's it's just at this point she has her spot, and she can. I don't want to say pull a Pat Barber, but like, you remember the end in 2011 where Pat kind of like laid low through the first 2 and then attacked on one and like had his moment. I think you should do the same thing. Play the game, the watching game with Kristen and the other athletes chasing her, and then shoot for one to try and have a big like rally moment.
This will be an unpopular thing to say, because I think she's a lovely woman and a fantastic athlete. Correct me if I'm wrong, because my sports history is not fantastic, but is it not true that the year that she got second, she failed the minimum work requirement at the Rogue Invitational for handstand push-ups?
Yes.
So if that were to happen, like I don't think I really need to see Laura Horvath do okay in a handstand push-up workout if she's going to be in second place.
Sure.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair.
Like
to
a little
say.
bit. Maybe she probably wants that too, like a little bit of redemption.
Yeah. And because realistically, it's one specific type of handstand push-ups. It's strict and deficit.
Okay.
She's been able to get through strict just by themselves. Strict deficit or strict parallel. Those are the two ones that have got her. It's what got her in Dubai. It's what got her at Rogue. She was able to manage the strict handstand push-ups in quarterfinals this year. She was actually did surprisingly well.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'd love to see her have a moment on that movement.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right.
I'm trying.
What else?
Other movement.
How's Haley doing?
Haley's doing fantastic. I just want one more thing before we get to Haley.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like a low light, so I don't want to call it a highlight, but it's top 5.
Okay.
We have to talk about it. Because, man, another fantastic athlete, amazing woman, Brooke Wells.
Right. That
with
was
an injury in front of everyone in the Coliseum.
I didn't really know. I was shocked when I saw it. I just said, "Uh-oh." And then she grabs her arm, and credit to Mike Roth, our director, and Eric Barnhart, our producer. They had the presence of mind at that time. Well, I think we were all kind of in a state of shock to cut away, pull the camera back. They cut to the wide camera, and then they backed it off as far as they could.
And at this point in time, we don't know precisely what happened, other than the fact that she appeared to be quite injured.
Yes, she was. It was bad. Like, it was really bad. Her arm was it. It looked dislocated, if not broken. But
you could tell she was in a lot of pain.
It was wrapped to begin with. It was that same side that she had some sort of compression sleeve or stabilization sleeve there. Man, that's tough.
An injury that you can bounce back from. Brandon Swan had something similar. I saw another gentleman in the Torian Pro, Luke Starr. I watched that same injury in person, like from 5 feet away.
Right.
And it is brutal and it's terrible, but certainly something you can bounce back from.
It was weird because I think you could feel it in the arena. Everyone was in a state of shock, and then you got to get now Laura Horvath up onto the platform and let her lift. And
I will give her extra points for that.
Thinking, like, how are you walking up there and getting your mind
right? And how are we not? Like, I felt like it was one of those moments, like, hey, let's take 2 minutes, make sure everything's okay, get reset here. But they kept going. And you credit the medical team; they were right on it. They got her right back there.
Yep.
But yeah, that was. Thank you for bringing that up, because it was a really unfortunate moment. I hope she's okay.
No doubt.
Hope this isn't something that keeps her out like multiple years. Like, she's ready to go by the time he opens back.
Love you, Brooke Wells.
Yes.
And wish you a speedy recovery.
100%.
Thank you, Ro.
And also a testament to those other female athletes that went behind her. How mentally tough and switched on they are to have that happen. Be like, got to get back into game mode. Got to do it right now.
And they did. Fickle lift too. Such a fickle lift.
Right. I was impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and if there's one thing I think Brooke can maybe look back on and be happy about is she at this point she was in the mix for the podium. Mm-hmm. You look at about 32 points back, she would have had an opportunity to maybe get more points in the tiebreaker too. And going into day 3, that's
a good place to be.
It's a good place to be for the goal, especially with a new training camp that she adjusted to this year.
Okay,
let's talk about Haley Adams.
Let's talk about Haley, and let me tell you what I've said and just see if I'm on the right track. I give her a ton of credit. After day 2, she had those really 2 rough events. She just sat there and stared at that barbell. To be able to brush that off and do what she did in the following events, I think goes a long way to, I don't know, it's a credit to her character.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I that has impressed me the most about her. I think she's probably just as mentally tough as anybody out there.
That's actually what I come back and say about her all the time. Like, her, her maturity astounds me. And so, if I'm being honest, I haven't actually gotten a debrief with her today. I haven't talked to her, but I did see her last night, and I ride the emotional roller coaster.
Sure.
I'm up and down about the competitions and stuff. And so I was amazed. She's like, nah, man, it's pretty much everything. I did as well as I possibly could have in events that couldn't be worse for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she meant it. She was dead serious. And it's funny because I was actually texting with Rich when she's standing there looking at the barbell. And I'm like, oh, no, what's going on? And he's like, we knew this was coming, right? for her to have lifted even that first barbell, like she doesn't do that fresh. She needs to get stronger.
Yeah.
And those are her words. She's like, I'm just not there yet. Like I have more maturation. And I think especially for a young kid who has had early success, their expectations may exceed reality. Whereas she's like, no, man, I'm going to keep myself very based in reality. I'm just going to work my ass off, which she does on a consistent basis, like the whole Cookville crew does. And but yeah, that ability to, like you said, just kind of digest that in a very real filter, and then go on and keep on knowing that she can grind through it and fight back. It's astounding to me.
She's fun to watch compete. I will tell you that much. She's fun. She's one of my wife's favorite athletes too, to throw down and then just watch her do her thing out there on the floor. And I became a fan last year when they were doing all of those interviews on Zoom or whatnot. Yeah. And she was like doing a TikTok thing or something there. Like, and what I loved about it was, I was like, this girl's awesome.
Yeah.
Because, here you've got the champ and all these other huge names in CrossFit on the female side, just pipe hitters, right? Should be so intimidating. She couldn't have been less concerned with what was going on. Like, whoop-de-doo, someone else is talking, no big deal. I was like, wherever she is in her headspace, she's cool, calm, and collected. This girl, I'm a fan. Yep. I'm an instant fan.
So much I think of like Haley as an athlete was summed up in that first lift that she made, the 175 that she got to 180, I think. But she gritted out that 175 where she caught it, and it was like, my shoulder doesn't want to do this, my hips don't want to do this, my knee doesn't want to do this, but I'm going to do this. And everybody was like rallied behind her because let's be fair, it didn't look pretty.
Yeah.
But she got the lift, and her will was almost stronger than her physical capability was in that one.
Yeah, she doesn't look like she has a lot of quit in her. Like she's going to go give it a whirl. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Insane fighter. We were even laughing after like the first event she came out. She's the only athlete who's lost skin off of her body on a kayak. And like she's got this innate ability to just like be scraped up and bumped and bruised and like it's hilarious. But she's just gritty, Like
how did she
go to the bar and you walk up, she's dirt all over the face, and you're like, gosh, you're a brawler.
There's always
how did she lose skin on the kayak?
Kelly Starrett will have you believe that it's because she was the only one that was pushing into her feet. But she just somehow created, it was like on the outside of her hips / butt. And somehow she created like, she had some rub.
Chafing.
She did that in 2019 too with the ruck.
Yeah. Bad. Yeah.
Dang.
Because other athletes had that, but she was the only one on the kayak. I was like, what did you do?
Finds a way.
Did you put chalk on your hips?
Oh, that's...
Anything else about the women's side? The one image I think to me, or one video image that will live for me, is Tia Toomey just pacing back and forth. Oh. Just staring at that barbell. I think Chase Ingram said it the best. He goes, if I were that barbell right now, I'd be wetting my pants.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to that, like, that comment about like the tiger at the zoo.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like.
There's the ones that are sleeping. There's the ones that are like kind of like playing, and there's that one in the back that's just like looking at all the kids as if they're his next lunch. And I love that, and I love the fact that we saw a lot of athletes in that game mode, in that format, and they were forced to walk by each other. Like, didn't
even Vellner and Fikowski, when they walked by Medeiros, didn't even look at him. Just went right.
And this. I would definitely want to touch on that before we segue into the men, but like just so everyone's aware, like 3rd through 7th, 32 points. So Gabby Magala, Christy Aramo O'Connell, Haley Adams, Annie, and Holta are all in it for the podium right now. I think very few people had Gabby Magala in there.
No way.
In their top 5. Me and Brian Friend picked her last year, thinking that she could be like a sneaky and it just took an extra year for her. Christy O'Connell. We talked about this yesterday, showcasing the validity of including something like a last chance qualifier for a select few athletes that, needed that pop. But man.
Well, I'll say before, if we're about to wrap up the women here before we go to the men, number one, I just have to go on record for saying, I know she didn't make the cut. So glad Samantha Briggs was competing. She is a cyborg. I don't know how she continues to do it. She was the first person when I got into the, scanned my ticket to get in today, and they were doing the the runs from one of the events.
Yeah.
And I couldn't cross the street, and then she runs by. It just warmed my heart to see Sam Briggs run by, doing what she does out in front of the pack running. I was like, everything's right in the world. So
she is unbelievable.
I'm so happy with her. She's awesome. And then I will just say, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, all those people that you just said are potentially in a contention for the podium is great. Wherever she shakes out, I'm going to give my honorable mention to, I think Annie Thorisdottir is so, I don't care where she ends on the leaderboard, the fact that she is here throwing down, she is a hero. She's crushing it.
Has she won Spirit of the Games?
Annie? I don't know.
Because
that's a good question.
If she hasn't, that is like material. Like that like you think about a moment, like the moment catching that 200-pound snatch, seeing her interaction, particularly on the snatch event when she walked by like Katrin and she walked by a couple athletes, she was like pumping them up on the way back to the seat. We were talking about Briggs yesterday on our podcast that Briggs got stuck at that first barbell on the clean ladder and she couldn't go, and the other athletes were literally lapping her, and Emma Carey, the 17-year-old, comes in, and Sam is getting like pumping herself up and sees her coming in and just stops what she's doing, turns like, you got this, because Emma was going to the last bar and like slapped her and like fist bumped her and like pumped her up, and it's like, that's amazing. Like we were talking about,
I'll be a fan forever, Sam Briggs.
Oh, no doubt.
Amen.
Yeah,
we're talking about maybe naming the.
I think that is actually that's a conversation that should be had. Name Spirit of the Games of Sam Briggs Award.
Yeah. Ooh, I think it's fantastic. The have you guys already talked about the Danielle Brandon thing that Sam Briggs did?
No.
Yes. We did about when
they were going to make this poor girl do the sprint by herself
today. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. And then Horvath and Helgadottir joined in as well. But Sam Briggs was first to. I don't think those. Not to take anything away from those two, but Briggs clearly seeing her do that, I think made a couple other people feel comfortable. It's like, okay, I should probably do this.
And you mentioned Helgadottir. How impressive was she with the barbell?
No doubt. And
she is so strong and such a good mover.
And I think that's part of it is that she's so technically sound that she can make up for a lack of just like pure brute strength.
So she weighs 125. And what did she get under?
180, 185. I mean, she represented Iceland at the European Championships, World Weightlifting Championships, because she goes
so impressive,
crazy wide, and is still so sable, and
it's like a 1.5 times body weight snatch.
Yeah,
dang.
I got the 0.5.
I got that covered.
Yeah,
roll 115 out there. I'm good to go.
Baby steps, man. Progress.
Oh man.
Okay, well, I mean, I think I think the top two spots on the leaderboard are more or less locked up, and the spot number 3 is up for grabs.
Tommy, how long ago did you put? I shouldn't say that you put Horvath on the radar. Her hard work put her on the radar. So sorry about that phrasing, but how long ago did she catch your attention?
I can tell you.
Yep.
2016.
Oh wow. Okay. Wow.
To be fair, Sean was the first one to come back from regionals.
I don't want to be fair.
Yeah, that's true.
I never. Life is not fair.
Yeah, Sean comes back and goes, dude, there's this like Hungarian teenage girl that did. She's like a year away. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. Oh yeah, she did some. And we started looking through the stats, and you're like, oh,
2016.
Well, she's knocking on the door, right? She barely missed.
She did.
Seventh,
I think
right?
she finished 7th, but she was in the final heat with I think Annie and I think Katrin was there that year. Mm-hmm. Sarah maybe, like a loaded field and looked really good.
Wow.
So I was like, I think she's going to make it, and yeah, here she is. So all right, men's side. Men's men's competition to me is for the first time in a long time, super interesting. Justin Medeiros is still your overall leader, but his lead continues to shrink over Pat Vellner. I think he started the day at 87, then it dropped to 62, and now it's down to, 45?
Quick question from the person
42?
who wasn't following. So when I showed up, I almost said it to somebody as a joke. And I was like, did Vellner punt one into the stands? And they're like,
answer's
funny
yes,
that
he
you
did.
say that. So what was the one that he,
The very
once
first
again,
event.
the very first
35th.
event? Oh, my. That's
Yeah.
less than competitive.
yeah.
So how many points does he get for 35th?
Oh,
like,
man.
I thought it was like 17.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not a
wow.
lot.
Yeah.
So again, even a middle of the pack finish, he would have
He's your overall
30
leader
more
right
points
now.
on the board right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably your overall leader if he just finishes 15th.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's so. We talked about mental toughness when everyone saw it happen to Brooke Wells, and you got to turn that switch. Pat Vellner, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want to have those finishes, but that dude's ability to be like, well, now time to get to work.
Yeah.
And just dig back. That's equally impressive, quite frankly.
The problem is that though this is not a mechanical issue with a bike. This is not falling off a net. It's like you knew this was coming. How are you?
Was it swim?
Yeah, I
swim.
don't know how
he's brief him. Did he say anything? Did he have anything to say about it?
No, I haven't talked to him yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know some of the Canadian guys had trouble getting to swim because of the lockdown.
Okay, I can see that.
But even because his last swim event in 2018, I think he finished 20th.
2017 in Run Swim Run, he was towards the back too.
36th.
Yeah,
he went 35th in 2016, 36th in 2017. And then 2018, he worked on it, and he finished 21st, or 20th, 21st.
How do you remember those exact placements every year? That's unbelievable. Take you to Vegas, counting cards in Vegas.
Drive the car slow in the driveway when that comes to Walbrook.
But and so I mean, to be fair, he also has a 1-month-old child. So,
Yeah, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't
But
sneaking away
still,
from any pool
35th.
sections. Yeah, that's true. I don't remember him. You called the event.
Yeah.
Was he that far back off the swim, or was it more the kayak? Because I want to say he came in the middle of the pack on the swim.
Yeah, you might be right. I think I
So
don't.
maybe it was a kayak.
He wasn't certain. I mean,
Some sort of watercraft.
Barring a nautical disaster.
Yeah,
that was
I mean,
great call.
I think you're right. I think he was about. Well, I don't know. I can't remember. I remember being somewhat shocked when he got out of the water on the swim. Be like, "Dang, you're this far back."
Did you see his Instagram post, which was so funny? He was making fun of himself. He posted a bunch of photos from day one. He goes, figured I'd post some photos from day one since the media team had gone home by the time I finished. He posted that himself on his own
That's
Instagram.
tremendous.
I was like, that's really good.
Oh,
He's like, you got a good sense of humor.
I mean, look how he battled his next 4 events: first, third, seventh, first. After a finish like that would like Yonakoski was on the bus and already back at the Alliant Energy Center by the time he got done. Like,
I mean, but Yonakoski beat everybody badly.
So now the question is, I don't even know what the right phrasing of this is. Is Medeiros in the lead because Medeiros is fitter, or is Medeiros in the lead because Pat Vellner made, I don't want to say a mistake, but I will say a mistake, and now Medeiros can't stop it. Vellner will continue creeping and eventually surpass him.
I think it's yes to both.
Interesting.
I think I think it would be really close right now. I think it'd be really close right now.
I'm going to read you this string of.
Here it comes.
Here we go.
He's going to memorize them as he reads them.
I will never have to read this again.
Yeah.
After the sprint event on day 1, was event 3 where we finished 11th. Medeiros goes 2nd, 4th, 6th, 7th, 2nd, 9th, 6th, 10th, 7th.
Holy cow! Wow.
You say that back.
He's not giving up points, right?
No.
And what was probably one of the most impressive things for me was in the snatch event, right? Because he was the leader, he had to go last. So like bar after bar, he's watching these other guys hit it and pump up and hit it and pump up. And then when it became an odd number of athletes, he had to go out there by himself. And
is that every single event that's taken place, you're saying? So
the first 3 were.
So Medeiros has not had a bad event.
His worst event was a 15th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that in?
The second event, which was the, oh my gosh, it was the pig flip chipper.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was the pig flip, the hand over hand sled pull, and then
couple muscle ups in there.
Yes, it's rope climbs.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't rope climbs. It was muscle ups. You're right. Yeah, Pat.
Darn right I was.
Yeah. But
Who's the analyst now, Tommy?
I know. But impressively, he was 5th in the swim, good in the water, 2nd with the odd object chipper with like the cheese curd, skiing, and all that stuff. He's like not really giving any opportunities for Fikowski and those guys to gain some points on him. Like
Vellner started the day, was it 87 back, and now is it 42 or 45? I think it's 42.
Vellner picked up 20.
He's cut it in half.
Vellner picked up 25 points today on him.
Is it 60 points?
It was
He's
60
down?
and change. Yeah.
At the end of the day?
Yeah.
Really?
25 points. So Vellner picked up 25 points, and Medeiros picked up 37 on Fikowski.
Right. I'm going to confirm that. I'm sure you're right.
People want Fikowski to win just for the tall guy. They just want a tall guy to win.
Same.
I got to be honest. Well, just watching Royce Dunn today, even though it was a snatch event, I was like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
230 pounds. It just makes me feel good.
Heaviest
wow.
athlete. Yeah. Heaviest athlete by
Big boy.
You're right,
by
62
13
points.
pounds.
Truck going downhill.
Yeah, it's 62 points. Thought it was more. So, yeah, but I mean, he's cutting it down.
He is.
He's got 3 events to go, so he's obviously got to beat Medeiros in every one of them.
Then
But with 20 people in the field, there's a 5-point difference between each spot, so you can make that up much more quickly than you can when there was 30 or 40 people in.
All of that went right up my ears. The how far back is Fikowski?
Fikowski
He's
is
8. Here we go. Here's how you know I'm getting old. 888 points.
61.
And he's in third. 61 points back. From second.
Vellner. No.
Nope.
He's
19 points back of Vellner.
19 points
Okay,
back.
19
wow.
points back of Vellner.
And he's 61 points back of Medeiros.
Medeiros. Okay, yeah.
It's possible.
Tomorrow's going to be a good day.
Yeah. This is like, I got to say on the last show, like, this is what everyone was excited about, right? Like, for the first time in over a decade, we had near zero clue who was going to win.
Yeah.
Like, there's like 5-6 guys you could easily like visualize taking it down. And for all 3 spots on the podium to be up for grabs, that's
No, it's 42 points. 949 minus 907 is 42.
I'm talking about Fikowski.
Yeah, I know, but I was talking about Vellner. Vellner's
I
42
hate it when you
back.
guys fight.
Yeah.
There's a
thought
power,
you said
power
62.
struggle.
I'm coming over there. I'm going to separate you two.
No,
Did you
I said Vellner picked up 25 points.
I'm sorry. He's 42 points back.
Yes.
That's what he said.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Which means he was 67
Yeah.
to
I was
start
like,
the
wait,
day?
that doesn't sound right. Okay, so yeah, he's 42 points back.
So I have a question
I'm cramping up.
for you two who are smarter than me in this arena.
Don't look at me when you say that.
Okay. There's
two?
There's several. What's that?
There's 3 of us.
All 3. There are some names that always get thrown around as to the so and so is just basically expected to be on the podium. If you know what, if they have a bad time, top 5, and that pressure might be warranted or might be unwarranted. And I heard that a lot. I heard a lot the last few years, but this year also, Mr. Noah Olson's name got brought up. So where is he sitting right now?
He's outside the top 10, and we got a little heat for
14.
people said, "Oh, you're over sleeping on Noah Olson" when we made our picks because I don't think any one of us picked it. I don't know. He has yet to have that moment that kind of gets him going. He's just been sort of in.
I was going to say, has he
in
had
third
some,
gear
Has he
right
had
now.
some big flops, or he been kind of just middle
No,
of the road?
he's just
the
kind
whole
of been
time?
middle.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's weird. I know he had the kidney stone thing that he was like laid up for a few weeks. I don't know to what extent that like made him sick. I talked to him a little bit before. He said it was more. He was downplaying it and saying it was more of like a nuisance. But I know he was like in the hospital and had to get them removed. But just something. Even at the West Coast Classic, he didn't seem like full Noah. Like even just like demeanor wise.
And
He came out a couple times in charge and then kind of like faded. And Cole Sager, beat him overall.
And I think too, in his case, when you look at the 2 best years that he's had, or at least the year he had in 2019, that was a odd year with the cuts and how they the points, and then Fraser got a penalty. Not to take anything away from Noah, but that absolutely helped him. And then last year, virtual, and then 5 guys.
Right.
This is the first time since 2018 he's had to face a full field in what I would call quote, a normal classic games format. So that might play. I think the 2 years that he's had in 19 and 20 may have. I always say happiness is measured by expectations, and I think people expected more out of him. And I'd even make the same argument with Jason Hopper. Expectations for him after what he did at the MAC were super high.
I was hearing his
and
name
people forget
all over the place.
You're still a rookie. It is still such a different story going from a semifinal event where most of the experienced guys who were there understand that I just want to qualify. It's not all about winning.
Right.
This isn't going to be a 15 event test over 3 days or 4 days where I'm just going to get put through the ringer. I know I have what it takes to finish inside the top 5, and I'm good.
Yeah.
He's still a rookie. He's made some rookie mistakes, but the expectations were maybe too high for him. And so while he's still having a very admirable performance for a rookie, the expectations are skewing that. And I think some people are going to view what he's doing as disappointing when they should not look at it that way.
Oh, no. Getting here as a rookie is a victory, quite frankly. I mean, did he? So he didn't make the cut to the 20. He did.
No, he did. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely
wow.
did.
He's crushing it.
And he was actually
That's fantastic.
He was doing really well to start the day. Last night he finished 8th in the finale, and this morning had a 7th. And then a couple of tactical mistakes, I think. The pegboard just cut like that event. You're kind of spinning your wheels in an AMRAP like that. You can kind of get lost if you're a rookie. And then the snatch, I think he rushed a second attempt at the 275 bar, and you could see the frustration on his face because he rushed underneath it, was a little bit forward, the bar had plenty of pop into the bar, and as soon as that came off him, he was just like, dang, I knew I messed up kind of situation. Because he snatched 300 pounds at the max, so it's not like his best lift was some number that he's thrown out that no one's ever seen before in a gym. Like, he did it in live competition, and he's lifted 30 pounds heavier than this. But the execution, I think, is something he'll fine tune, because he's definitely shown some flashes of being really good at times.
How about Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson?
Where's he sitting right now?
Sixth place. No, sorry, fifth. And he's never been lower than sixth the entire competition.
Oh, wow.
The whole time. He's been right there, and just like, what was it, 2015, where it's like, oh, yeah, you just sort of overlook it because you don't think it's going to.
What's the point
I don't know how
for
you
him getting on the podium right now?
He's 100 points out.
Yeah, it's deep, yeah.
Okay.
No, he is.
I didn't mean to ask you guys math again.
89 points out, I think. Back in the back of math.
He's,
Do you want to check me on that?
Points. He's got some points there.
Yeah, I think the top three, on the men's side, the top three, it's a matter, I think, order right now.
Oh, okay.
Saxon Panchik is in fourth, but he's 87 points back. So Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson is 89 points back.
He kind of had Saxon has had kind of a BKG-esque season almost.
Mm-hmm.
He won the Granite Games, and I remember, everyone's like looking at Chandler. How is he going to do? Mm-hmm. Colton Mertens won a couple of events. He's got the mullet too. Everybody's kind of excited. And then I think by day 3 to start, I kind of looked at the leaderboard and I'm like, Saxon's never finished lower than 6th. He's only finished above 3rd once, but he's just kind of like chipping away at it, chipping when he ends up winning comfortably. And now, 4th overall? And I mean, he hasn't necessarily blown one event away either, but kind of taking a little bit of a page out of his brother's
I was going to say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree there.
Mm-hmm. That's the middle stretch of the competition. So events 3 through, what is that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He goes 4th, 4th, 5th, 5th, 9th, 7th. Like that little stretch where he's not in the top 3.
How old is he?
25.
Okay.
He's got a few good years left.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Is that a Mayhem athlete?
He is now, yeah, recently.
And he's been working with Facundo, right?
Also a new father. He's been working with Facundo for the better part of a year.
Yeah.
And Facundo is now kind of in our coaching stable as well. So, both Saxon brothers, not Scott, came over. He's amazing, man. I just saw him. He seemed really relaxed at the hotel. He said he didn't really execute as well as he would have liked on some things, but he's happy overall. I'm like, yeah, man, you absolutely should be, because to your point, he's been hugely consistent.
Yeah.
And I think he's catching a lot of attention this year.
He didn't just have one kid; he had 2, right?
Yeah, sorry, twins. Yeah.
Like a month ago,
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Wow.
Vigneault.
Yeah.
Alex Vigneault.
Right now in
7th.
7th place. Yeah, that's not a guy I saw in the top 10, but I did mention this today on the broadcast that back in 2016, when Matt Fraser won the trail run, and basically looked to go wire to wire, won the first event, only one other guy was the overall leader during 2016, and it was Alex Vigneault. After the deadlift,
I did not recall.
Alex Vigneault was in first place.
Okay.
This is a rare treat.
My goodness.
So missed call as he walks in the door.
Old Charlie Doobie.
Mm-hmm.
Chucky Doobs is in the house.
Our intrepid producer. There he is.
Just a national treasure.
He is a national treasure. I've always said this. If you ever meet someone who doesn't like Charlie Doobie, run from that person.
I know, and I was going to make a disparaging remark about New Jersey. But, there we go. Yeah. Let's just say he does the state
I'm
proud.
sure no one will ever take that out of context and message you on social media.
Heaven forbid you make a joke on the internet. Guy tried to make a joke.
I'm offended. Okay. What else do we want to talk about?
Let's see. So Vigneault making a comeback after taking a few years away, focusing on a career in law enforcement. Lazar Jukic.
Yeah, he had a good day.
That was my rookie of the year pick.
Yeah, it was.
Very nice.
First and a second before he took a 15th in that final event, but still.
Another athlete that hasn't been talked about much, Andre Houdet.
Yeah, I've been, I don't know a whole lot about that guy. He's a rookie.
We covered him.
But we've called him before, like at the regionals. He's definitely been.
I recognize the name. I have mentioned his name before, but he's never gotten to this
he's been
point.
Close
he's been looking
for a while.
good.
Yeah. I thought if I'm being honest, I thought he was going to break through like 2 or 3 years ago, and just like didn't quite. I think he may have been one of those athletes that kind of got lost in the fray the last couple of years. Last season, he competed on Butcher's Lab's team that won Pandaland. Out in China, I watched them win that event, and so he was going to compete for team that year. And then with the affiliate cup switch, he decided to come back to individual and take a shot. He's got an amazing story. I think one of his siblings passed away. I believe another one of his siblings was born with. I'm not sure the disability, so I don't want to speculate on it. But his parents have apparently a amazing restaurant that they founded and named after the sibling. And I think Nico is doing a story on him, or has done a story on him. It's a pretty cool story, and it's cool to see him do well. There's some athletes that are like, I almost feel like Spencer Hendel-esque, where like they just got to get to the games. Like they're going to be on the bubble for qualifying.
Oh, right, okay.
And then when they get to the games, like they tend to do better at some of like the stuff outside of the box or the athletic.
And they rise to the occasion.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I felt about him, seeing some of the stuff that he was doing in the training videos that I saw.
Let's make predictions now for tomorrow. Who do you think winds up on the podium for the women?
Hold on. Do we know anything about tomorrow? Like, is there?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to say that to be safe.
Oh, sorry.
I honestly don't know what's been announced and what's not. So anytime I'm
okay.
unsure, I just say no.
I'm fairly certain that those of us outside of the fold don't know. That's crazy. So we're going into it knowing just about nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but we do know there's 3 events, right?
Correct. Yeah, that was
15
total.
15 for 15.
Did they announce anything tonight?
Different number for.
I always
let
just
me
go
try,
by.
Let me check the CrossFit Games event app.
All right, you do that. I have that as well. But I'll go first. I think podium. I think it's going to be. I think for the women, it's Tia, Laura, and you know what? I'm going to put Annie up there. I think Annie makes it. I think she's going to do it.
I'm so invested in her success at the moment. I'm just going to piggyback off of that because I want that to happen.
I do too.
Yep.
I think nothing against
Nope.
Holta.
Nope. I want to see Annie on the podium. It's just, just so impressive after having a child so recently. So impressive.
I mean, I said it tonight too. If you had a Mount Rushmore of CrossFit, I think you have to put Tia Toomey and Annie Thorstad up there. They are absolutely first ballot, no question. Put them up there.
Yep.
I mean, just based on my biases alone, I have to put Haley on the podium. I think.
You know what?
And I don't think it's too far out.
I don't think it's
too far
of
a stretch. I'd love to see Annie there too, but the likelihood of both of them making the jump is pretty outrageous. Tia's a given. We're not, she's not going anywhere. I'm gonna call a Tia, Annie, and Haley podium.
Okay.
Laura and Kristen, I love you both.
You think Horvath
doesn't
is just
sound
gonna
like it?
Give up.
I mean,
lead,
even in the face of the mathematics that you put on the table in front of me, in spite of the evidence that you've given me mathematically,
Rory's not afraid to just
like
drop
it.
the back
Tommy
shoulder
knows
and
that.
throw a Hail Mary.
Guy won $700 at the craps table
This is
betting
how
on
you do
snake
it.
eyes.
Yeah, math is not an exact science.
No, it's more of a
You
suggestion.
got to
Really.
risk it to get the biscuit.
What about you? Women.
I'm going Tia, Laura, and honestly, I think Annie too. That moment. She's probably riding so high right now.
It was so great. It was just so cool.
She's got 3 out of 4 people here pulling for her.
oh man, I made zero.
Why do you hate?
Why am I here? Why am I here?
Obviously nothing against like Kristen or Haley or anything like that. And for Haley too, her time's coming.
You trying to get your eyeball out of your face? What are you?
Oh man, my eye was itching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Been working on it for 30 years. One of these days.
But there's also something to that old version of Iceland Annie, like when she would catch fire. Like 2014 is a great example where she was outside of a podium position coming into the final few days, and she just went lights out. And there's that picture of her like jumping and like floating across the double disc.
Yeah.
Like she's someone that when the crowd responds to her, she starts to like get pumped up. I think it can absolutely carry her.
All right, what about the men? Like I said, I think the top 3
tough.
have been decided. I just think it's a matter of order, and I think it's I'm going to put. I'll say Vellner, Medeiros, Fikowski.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
I think Vellner's going to. I just have a feeling he's going to make a charge.
Just to
tomorrow.
be a bit contrarian.
Okay.
But I mean, who's kidding? We're splitting hairs here. I'm going to go Medeiros. I like the kid a lot. I've never met him, but he just seems like
He's a great guy.
He does exactly what he
His
seems
family's
like.
fantastic too.
You know, I mean, so did the other gentleman I'm saying here as well. But there's just like Haley Adams is fun to watch compete. Medeiros is fun to watch compete.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to see him get the gold, and Vellner for just how much he battles back. I got to see him on the podium. I'd love to see him get the silver, and then skip Fikowski up there as well. 2 out of 3 Canadians. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Yeah.
I would love to see Vellner win, but I'm gonna kind of echo you. That Medeiros is hype, man. Like he's
he's the real
he's
deal.
got fire. People love him, and same as you're saying with Andy, like feeding off the crowd. Or I don't know, you said that.
If it was good, I said it.
I think it was Tommy actually.
It seems like he really, really thrives on that energy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so he seems like he's only gaining momentum
For sure.
So I'm gonna give him the nod, and then Vellner Fikowski.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you guys. I think the top 3 is going to stay the same. I think we might see some shuffling from like event to event, but I think it's going to shake out the same. My decision on Vellner versus Medeiros was decided in the snatch event. Medeiros almost missed the very first bar at 260 and had to rush and get it. And then after that, I was like, I think he's a little on tilt.
He looked better every lift after
bar.
that.
Yeah, he started to get better, and he got to the point where like it was Brent and Pat that kept going out together, both hitting it, walking right by him, and he just like just was staring right through him, and shook it off, stepped up to the bar, smoked it, turned around and came back like, oh yeah, I'm here too.
Yeah, and I reserve the right to amend my picks based on whatever events are announced because obviously that could play a big role in what happens. So
it's tough, but it's hard to ignore that. Like Medeiros has, like a 40-ish point buffer just to play with.
Yeah, which got cut in half in 3 events.
Yeah,
4.
Not in half.
Almost.
25 is not half of
Here we go.
67.
No, it's down from 87 to 42.
It was 67.
Hate
No,
when
it
you
wasn't. I don't think it was
We
67.
just did it. You said it's 42, right?
I thought you were talking about something else. I thought it was more than that.
Yeah, Medeiros
Okay.
picked up 25
Anyway,
points on him.
He's chipping away, and he can do that very easily in one event.
These two are like an old married couple.
We
What
are.
have we
He's
had
gotta
for
wait
a
till
little
it's
bit?
time
And it's
again.
just like they.
I
so
could have
happy
sworn
that
it
they're
was
out there,
87.
go down a little bigger
I've been
fight
staring
hole.
all day long at that CIS
Told you to
system,
take the
so-
last exit.
You get this from your mother.
What is it? Is there a team competition this weekend?
Not really.
Yeah, where are they? What's Mayhem doing now? Like, I know that I called the first day, and then I've been so dialed into the individuals. I've watched some of it, but
They're crushing. If you can call it stumbles, they had a couple of stumbles today, a bunch of no reps, and some flails on the pegboard, and I think that resulted in a 5th place finish. But I mean, after a perfect first day, and it was funny. The point spread didn't really pan out for the first day and a half. I guess because there were so many teams doing the same thing. I guess, but they really pulled away.
here's what it was. Now I remember. You're right, but I'm right about 87 was the lead at one point. It was 87 on Friday night, and then he cut it to 60 today, and then he cut 20 off of it on Friday night. And then it was and then it was 60 coming in the day. So you're right, but it was at 87 at one point. Okay, now we saw.
Not my place to say it, but from what I understand, for a healthy relationship, you shouldn't bring up old stuff. Don't bring up old stuff.
You can help us facilitate this here.
He just provides his analysis on the team
what was
competition.
It wasn't much of an analysis in Sean's defense. Bring up the leaderboard. Show me what I got.
Yeah, I got you. So
mine keeps
Mayhem's
crashing.
About 174 points over CrossFit Oslo.
What? How many team is this? Would this be his 5th team title?
Yeah.
It would.
Man,
9th gold medal, 11th.
so he's won gold
overall.
medals. What, 9 out of the last 10 years? Is that what it is now?
Yeah.
I mean, assuming he hangs on to win, which I think they will.
I think they got it. They're looking good.
Yeah.
Looking strong.
It's so funny to me how they changed the rules to try to make things more equitable, and then Rich, by going inside the rules, made his team better.
Honestly, when the whole thing went down, I was like, this is bad for. This It's fun to watch someone dominate. It's fun, like, in the same way that it's fun to watch Tia dominate and just show her prowess. It's also, for the same reason you're saying you're so excited that not that Matt Fraser was gone, but that you got to see a team, or you get to see a men's competition where there's a little bit more parity.
Yeah.
Right. So from the beginning of this year, I was kind of like,
but
this might be less interesting to watch.
Him, when he and Jason and Tommy Hackenberg went to the team competition in 2015, it really energized that.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's as popular as the individual competition, but it made people who maybe didn't pay much attention to the team competition want to pay more attention to it and added some star power to it.
Agreed.
So that certainly helps.
Agreed. And I'll have to say, I'd love to hear you guys sound off on it because, again, like I recognize my biases now, but that moment when he and Andrea went for 7 thrusters it's in my top 5 of all time.
No question.
100%.
I was so happy that I got to be able to call that and have a front row seat.
It was one of the spine-tingly moments of the CrossFit Games ever.
It was awesome.
I want to see that like slow-mo, because they like turned and communicated to each other like as they were walking, and we had a side profile. So I'm like watching this team, Pro 1, like set the bar down. And they look over their shoulder and see like Rich and Andrew like battening down the hatches and like, I don't know how you just don't crumble no matter what. Like just give it to them right there. Going broken. They'd been going 4-3 each time. The minute they did the 5th one, and the crowd, and credit to the crowd, I think that's what I love about the games is the crowd can be so perceptive at times. The minute they lowered it down to the 5th rep, everybody on their feet. They knew what was going on.
And Andrea deserves a ton of credit there, too, because she had been struggling. Every time they went 4, dropped it. They had a couple no reps where she was struggling a little bit. It was 4-3 every time, 4-3 every time. So when they stepped up to that barbell, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to do 4 really fast shakeout and then go for 3 and see if they can catch them. Because I think Pro 1 had done 3 at that point. And, that was...
She's a crazy person.
I want to see the whoop data on that moment, because Rich was just like... God, like you don't see him celebrate like that. That was
awesome.
Unbridled.
It was so cool.
That's a great point. We actually should do that. Because he gets pretty high up on the finish line too. Or even and to your point about Andrea and Taylor, to her credit, is that I forget which number event it was. I think it was number 3. But they're out on the field with the Big Bob.
Yeah.
You would see every time that they would finish, Andrew would just take off, and that's not really Rich Froning's style. Like he paces appropriately. They had a good lead, and he usually would strut in a paced fashion back and keep continuing working at like a fantastic rate. But these girls kind of push his pace, which is really cool to see.
Yeah. I'm with Chase when he says those are probably 2 of the best female competitors in the team competition ever.
Without
and it's just almost not fair. Like they changed the rules. It's like you actually made them better by doing it.
Without a doubt.
They got the mongrel in them. It's funny because...
And to be fair, if Scott Panchik was still on the team and you had China Cho, I don't know how much different it would be. They were
they're still going to be really, really good.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny enough, Brent Stover, I think one of his relatives used to babysit, his aunt or uncle, babysat Taylor Williamson when she was a kid.
No way.
A small world.
So he crazy, right? He goes, who's Taylor? She's on Mayhem? And I'm like, yeah, that one right there. And he goes, oh, one of my family members used to babysit her. She has definitely grown up. And I'm like, watch her. It was right before the Echo Bike snatch workout when Mayhem was a little bit behind, and she just reeled in 8 women on that last one and just went. I was like, she won the Echo Bike challenge, and she's won 4 of Rogue's challenges already. This is exactly what her wheelhouse is, and she stomped the gas. And it was really cool to see someone like Brent, obviously, isn't in depth in the CrossFit community. He's not a CrossFitter, but to see him be amazed as she clearly put on something that was undoubtedly really, really cool.
Yeah.
Was pretty awesome as well, and that's a testament to the other half of Andrea and Taylor.
What's next for you guys? What are you doing after this?
What am I doing after this?
Yeah.
It's let's see.
I meant after this.
I'm gonna dig back into your skills.
It's 11 p.m. My alarm's going off at 4 a.m. for a flight.
Oh.
You get right back out of here, huh?
Yeah.
6 a.m. flight.
Back to that newborn, man.
Just came in for the podcast.
Dad life, new infant life.
Yeah.
Parent life treating you okay?
So far, so good. Yeah. I said, I don't know any different. So it is what it is. I'm getting enough sleep to survive.
Good.
I'm still functioning. My family appears to be functioning on some level, so I'm going to call it a win.
Awesome. Bro, what are you doing next?
heading back to Cookeville and maybe take a little bit of downtime.
Awesome.
You know, it's going to be.
I still want to come back and check that place out for
Please,
like a longer
man,
period of
please,
time. I had so much
please.
fun there doing the Mayhem Classic.
Yeah, and the summer opens up like a whole new can of worms too.
Yeah.
Like the lake life is great. There's a lot of outdoorsy stuff to do. So you guys,
That Cracker Barrel,
anytime.
though.
Oh, that Cracker Barrel.
That Cracker Barrel.
One of the best $5 steaks I've ever had in my life.
It was
Like that
fantastic.
thing just hit different. It was good too.
Facundo came out, and actually, long story short, and this is going to be a little promo too, but Facundo came out, and he went to Cracker Barrel so many times and posted about it on Instagram so many times that Cracker Barrel posted Facundo going to Cracker Barrel. So fast forward, and we're gonna do this really cool event in the Middle East that I want to talk to you guys more about at a later date, but. The sheik of Ras Al Khaimah, one of the sheiks of Ras Al Khaimah, came to visit, and we're going to run the event in conjunction with him. And he's like, I was like, man, we're so excited to have you. Can't wait for you to see Cookeville. It's a great place. And he's like, yes, this Cracker Barrel. I've heard so much about it. I cannot wait to go.
It's
It's like,
amazing.
right on. I was like, we'll do Cracker Barrel, but we'll do a lot of other stuff too.
Cracker Barrel, bringing nations together.
Oh man, you're never happier after you had like a chicken fried steak.
And played with that little puzzle game that they have, you know?
You stop for one of those like cherry stick lollipops from the general store on the way out.
To their credit, they do. You know, you're always like, all right, it's hokey to have the gift shop, but I always find something in there.
I like it, man.
It's pretty cool.
Always.
It's charming.
Do you guys
yeah.
remember? This is a sidebar. You might not have been there. We went in, I think it was 2012. It was the first time that like anybody did an open announcement head to head, and it was Dan Bailey. And
Yeah.
Rich Fronting. We were in.
I didn't go to that.
We were in Fort Worth, Texas.
It was recorded, wasn't it?
It was recorded.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But it was kind of like an affiliate thing. Anyways, the story is that we went to Billy Bob's, which is the biggest honky tonk in the world.
Okay.
And this is what they say. Josh Turner,
Pat's
who's a
place.
country music star, sang, and it's the only time I've ever seen this. He stopped in the middle of his set and did a commercial for Cracker Barrel.
Josh Turner.
Josh Turner, in the middle of his set, a musician was like, I'd like to thank my sponsors at Cracker Barrel. There's 6 locations in the Fort Worth area. And he's like, I'm going to sing another song for y'all. Here we go. It was awesome.
You can drop it in the basement too.
Oh,
Josh,
for sure.
Yeah, Josh
Oh, yeah.
Turner's got some.
He's legit.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Wow. We should. I mean, speaking of which, this episode's brought to you by Whoop.
It is brought to you by
yeah.
Whoop.
You're just
Making a joke because we were stopping in the middle of our song. But
Oh,
That one didn't hit.
I see it. Yeah, that didn't. it's the two minutes. I'm really tired.
Sean looked at me.
Like, where you going with this? So where am I
pretty
supposed to I think I'll go home now.
John's wife is just giving him
My wife is like thoroughly embarrassed by my behavior right now. Yep, it's what's this is what contributed half of the genetics of that child in there. Like, hopefully, your half can overcome it.
It'll overcome. It'll overcome.
Sleepy Sean's. Oh man, it's a treat.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
No, just appreciate
It's just
you,
great.
gentlemen.
It's great to see you
Appreciate
guys, man.
Yeah, this is fun.
Let's do it sooner than 3 years next time.
All right, we'll make it 2. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you to our sponsor, Whoop.
Yes.
Head to whoop.com, use our code TALKING15. You'll save 15%. You'll optimize the way you train. And if you're here on site in Madison, check him out at the Whoop booth and say hi to Mike Lombardi. He's a rather tall, handsome individual. Can't miss him. You get
Sharing
plenty of good
space
insight.
with Mayhem Nation.
Oh yeah.
Are they really?
They've just been very generous to let us camp out in there and
Awesome.
hang with them.
Nice.
Good stuff. All right. Well,
Epic.
Ro, Pat, thanks so much, man. Pat, have a safe trip home. Ro, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll
And,
keep coming bothering you and Chase. I like
Yeah.
kind of tickle you.
Please
while you're
do.
talking, yeah.
We appreciate it. We need to pick your brain for some intel on the teams. I think we're calling a little bit of that on the final day. So, all right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care of each other. Be better, and we will talk to you next time.